I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-Minute Convos, where I help you create a brand of your own unique real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good afternoon, Jeffrey Lodick. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful afternoon?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How you doing?
I'm excellent, my friend. Excellent as can be. What part of the world are you in right now?
I'm in Florida, Tampa, Florida.
All right. And which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this time?
Well, I guess it would be the talent of podcast. I mean, you reached out to me based on some things that I've been doing, I guess, and that's where it's at, boss.
Yeah. Tell us about your podcast, my friend.
So the podcast is called On the Other Side, Leadership After Transition. I recently retired from the United States Army, so last January I started a podcast as I found there was some holes in the transition process. So I kind of wanted to get some experiences from people to kind of share with the folks that are trying to transition or who have already made that transition, and that's how it started.
So, where did you listen to podcast before you started, or where did the idea come up with? Okay, I'm going to do the podcast.
No, I never listened. I didn't even know what a podcast was. Now, I'll tell you, if you asked me, what's today, December 9th. So if you'd asked me December 9th of 2016 what a podcast was, I would have been really confused. A buddy of mine, he brought up the idea, started having conversations. And as I listened to him and then started looking through podcasts and started listening to them, I was like, wow, a lot of information that can be passed from just a regular person. You know, it don't have to be anybody special or spectacular. If you just want to get some information out there, you can do it. And I found that I was just a regular person that wanted to do the same thing. So.
Now, it seems as though you're a guy that has returned or retired, but not retired. It seems as though you started a new life where you started just building information. Again, I'm saying this based on the last podcast conversation where the guy you were speaking to there, you was talking about, you guys were talking about Toastmasters, right? So you jumped in there as well. I mean, like, what caused you to decide, hey, I'm going to be the soldier for good, if you would?
Well, it was really simple, to tell you the truth. That when I decided to retire, I knew at some point in my career I wanted to serve, and it wasn't whether it was the Army or something. I wanted to serve something bigger than myself. And when I decided to retire, it was based on the fact that, well, I could influence more people outside of the uniform for the same greater good and to better ourselves. So I said, well, why not do it? So I kind of jumped out there and have started doing a whole bunch of stuff, you know.
Why will you continue to podcast?
Because I love it. I mean, it's really interesting. I've probably learned more in the last 10 months, 11 months, as far as leadership is concerned, than I had in 20 years in the Army. And it's not because I wasn't, maybe it was because I wasn't asking the right questions. I mean, I lived it. I was a leader in the military. I was surrounded by leaders in the military. But to have, I guess you would say, the perspective from people, specifically asking them, what do you think the best qualities of a leader are? What do you think? You know, and when you're asking those questions, you learn so much, you know, and I've learned a significant amount in a very short time, and I want to continue to learn.
It honestly feels like a transfer or a transformation from caterpillar to butterfly, doesn't it?
Without a doubt.
Well, tell me one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years, please.
You know, it's funny because I consistently, I don't know, out of a million things, but what I would say is about 6 years ago, I started replying to emails. And what I mean by that is consistently replying to every email that I got. And not the spam stuff where they're trying to sell you something or whatever the case may be, but if a real life person emailed me and asked me a question or just made general conversation, I'd respond to that email. And I think that has really given me a greater outlook on life and a good appreciation of things, because I've gotten so many great stories, so many great, I guess you'd say maybe business leads in one aspect, but on the other side, it's just been really nice to have those conversations with folks that maybe I can help or maybe they can help, but it's just because I wanted to reply, communicate.
That's awesome. How does it make you feel?
Accomplished, I guess you'd say. And I say that solely because when a lot of the emails that I get, they're not asking me to do something for them, and nor are they wanting me to do something for them. I mean, or for them to do something for me. It's just they'll put out something out there, and then I might respond with, "Hey, nice to meet you," or whatever the case may be. 6 months, 8 months, I mean, 3 years down the road, right? These things have blossomed into relationships, friendships, business partnerships, whatever those cases, whatever it may be. But it's been very, it's been great.
The power of a conversation, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I came up with the idea that there are like three types of conversations. The first conversation you have with yourself. The second conversation you can have via writing or reading. So an author writes something or someone writes an email, and it's like two conversations are going on because you're reading this, but you're interpreting it in your own mind as your imagination plays on. And then there's a third conversation like this, where there's the exchange of voices, right? And of course, there's one more which really brings great value, which is the face-to-face conversation, right? I mean, we're sitting there, we're sharing a meal, we're exchanging, we're seeing body movements. But most definitely, the power of a conversation is tremendously fascinating. I would say, just like vitamins, you should have a conversation a day.
yeah. I'd agree. And I just want to throw one more thing out there is the one thing about the emails that I get and then meet them or talk to them. It's funny because people tend to say more and be more candid when there is no face to face. I mean, when you're sending an email, depending, there's no judgment, there's nothing back and forth, and you have the idea of, well, why not? Let me just throw it out there. The worst thing he does is not respond to me. So typically they say a little bit more in the email, and then it breaks that mold, and then you can have that greater conversation. You get past those first 16 steps before you get to, hey, this is what I'd like to see if we can do. It's interesting.
You're definitely on point, my friend. It just brings value to the fact that what you're speaking about is truth, and that even the experience that you spoke about that individuals are bringing on the podcast or anyone can put on there is valuable, right? Your experience with emails, yeah, valuable. What I do here is I'm having a conversation with you, and I strategically ask that the audio is much better as well, but truly it's better this way, right? Because if you have a booger and you need to pick it, well, you could just pick it, right? Without me seeing, right? It
Right.
definitely clears a few steps and allows you to just be comfortable. And we're doing voice to voice. So you're definitely on point, my friend. It's fascinating to see the experience you've gained over such a period of time.
hmm
Do tell us or suggest to someone out there that's listening why they should do what you've done by making a decision to improve yourself and really digging into it.
And like I'd keep people doing. I'd respond to emails and stuff, and I'd talk to people. I'd suggest that they do that, and I say that because and lose the get rid of the what's in it for me attitude. Like if you eliminate the what's in it for me, you will find there's a lot in it for you, but you're really truly trying to help someone else, and when you do that, if nothing comes back, so be it. I mean, from a physical, tangible perspective. But when you watch them grow, you should have that feeling of joy because you might have helped them get there. And if something does come back, that's a bonus. So get rid of the what's in it for me attitude, and see how it goes. Relationships blossom that way, I believe.
Love it. Amazing audience. You're hearing it live from Jeffrey Lodick. Again, he is the podcast host of On the Other Side, Leadership After Transition. Jeffrey, let's switch gears for a moment now and let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Jeffrey, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Oh man, you know, rain. I gotta say, rain. It's associated with rain. I couldn't tell you what it was. I can tell you that I'm from New York originally, upstate in the Buffalo area. And we have wintertime and stuff. And a lot of my memories have to do with the changing of seasons. Specific memories of it, I don't know. But I can recall rain and being outside playing in it all the time.
How old do you think you were?
5 or 6 possibly, maybe 7. I mean, I try to think back and look at it, but 5 or 6.
How do you see that memory connecting to who you are today?
Man, it's really amazing because when I'm anytime it rains, there's a certain smell that I get outside. Like it happens from the blacktop, from the asphalt, right? And how I see it is simply that's a smell that you get, and it brings you back to that moment, right? And what I see in that is I was happy in the rain. I mean, I don't like rain. I'm not one of those guys that go out and play in the rain as a grown man. And I'm not sitting out there with my tongue out tasting it. But I could see myself when I was a kid. It didn't stop me from doing anything. Like where a lot of folks like to stay inside when the weather's bad. I don't. I never dawned on me to do that. It just added an obstacle, I guess you would, to something that I'm trying to do to succeed. And that's where I see it with me today. Is let it rain. I don't mind. I'm still going to go outside because the sun's going to come up eventually.
Love it. Can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Yeah, please.
Focus. Just love the idea of your focus. Like you get in and you lock on, and then it's nothing stopping me. I'm going to that point. It's fascinating. Like you jumped in. You started being a podcaster and you didn't even know about a podcast, right?
Right, right.
You just get in. It's challenging, right, to be that person because you could lock on to the wrong thing. But then again, who is to say what is the wrong thing? Because sometimes the wrong thing is the thing that then points you to the right thing and then it powers what you're doing. But it is challenging, I'm guessing, because sometimes it feels as though you're not building momentum in the beginning. So
Right, right. It's really interesting you said that. I mean, it doesn't feel like it all the time. As a matter of fact, it feels like you're actually going the opposite way, and it's frustrating. But I truly believe that everything that we do is not a failure. And when we're not accomplishing what it was that we set out to do, it's not a failure. I believe that failure is a fake word. I think that it's a learning experience. You learn and then you move and you keep going. You fail when you quit, when you stop, when you decide it's over. Uh, yeah, everything's a step towards where you want to be, no matter which direction in which you're going.
yeah, there's a metaphor that I super, super love. I think it really has helped me understand fully focusing and what it looks like in reality. And it's the archer. He definitely stands up and aims and focuses and has the arrow. And then he pulls back. And then to the whole world, the world is looking at the arrow and saying, okay, he's going backwards, right?
Hmm.
And then with focus, again, you aim and it's fascinating. You take your time, and again, it's looking as though you're taking forever to go forward. But
Hmm.
then the archer releases, and before you know it, with momentum, it just surpasses everyone's expectations.
I love
And
that.
most definitely, that has helped me stamina it out, if you would, in the process as it looks as though I'm going backwards. I hope that helped.
Oh no, that's amazing. I loved it.
If we fast forwarded to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
12. Phew. I'm going to throw it out there and say it was probably Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice. I think that was, and I think if anybody says it wasn't, they're full of nonsense. Because no matter who you were, that little that part came on. Everybody's, oh, here it is.
I love it. Well, Jeffrey, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready?
I am.
Jeffrey, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Yes.
Are you married?
Yes.
Do you have children?
Yes.
Do you believe in God?
I do.
Do you have an inner circle of friends? Do
Yes.
you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
Nah.
How about 3 hours a week?
Yes.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? More than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Less than 8.
If you had to share with us, Jeffrey, your own unique real statement, a statement that represents Jeffrey Lodick, what would you say that is?
Wow. That would be wow. I mean, I would truly have to say that I'm not defined by anybody or any one moment, and I will continue to define myself as I learn and grow.
Love it, even though it rains. Jeffrey
Even though
Lodick, this has
I
been a
love
great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
I'm really appreciative of you taking your time to speak to me. I truly thank you. And if anybody wants anything from me, please, by all means, reach out, jeffrey.lodick@gmail.com. I'm all game to listen to what you need and see if I can't provide some type of insight.
Love it. Jeffrey Lodick, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.